of looking at trends over time in terms of performance, accuracy rates, and or comparing offices in terms of relative performance. That's not good metrics, unquote. Simply, the Inspector General's office testified that they, and I quote, continued to identify a high rate of errors in regional offices' processing of claims decisions. Now, Under Secretary Hickey was the one that testified for the VA. And despite her testimony, which was refuted by the Inspector General, the GAO, VA put out a press release the very next day entitled, VA Takes Action to Ensure Data Integrity of Disability Claims, in which the VA touts that it's reduced the backlog by 55%, has reduced the number of days it takes to process claims, and has improved their accuracy rate to over 90%. Now, listen, you've said that you've got to gain the trust of the committee, of the veteran, of the country, and I think we agree with you. Let me ask you, how smart was that press release? Did you sign off on that press release? And how can numbers that were refuted by the people that are actually doing the investigations of VA facilities, how can they refute the numbers and the next day VA come out with the same numbers and tout them?
Senator, I think, as you've noted, trust is the foundation of everything that we do. And where there are questions about data integrity, I think we've got to bore into those very deeply. There are a number of issues that have been raised there. I could sit and go through and pick at an item or two, but the fundamental issue remains that there are questions about whether or not we've got good data integrity there. And just as we are undertaking independent reviews in the VHA side, we will undertake those in the VBA side.
Well, Mr. Secretary, they've been underway. Much of it initiated by members of this committee with the Inspector General, with the General Accounting Office. And you've acknowledged the shortcomings on the VHA side. This is fresh. This is this week. And still, that press release stresses that the VA will continue to post these performance data on its website. How does publicizing suspect data increase the integrity and the trust that
Mr. Chairman, Senator Burr, I would tell you, I come into this organization from the private sector, and I look at the transformation that's been wrought in VBA over the last 2 to 3 years, and I defy anybody to show me any major part of the federal government anywhere that is transformed that much in that period of time. I think it's amazing looking at it from a private sector perspective, much less doing it in the context of a federal government agency. There is room to improve there. I got it. We've got to restore trust there. I got it. They pulled the 100% provisional ratings out, and those didn't get counted in the backlog. I got it. My recollection, round numbers, it was about 12,000. I may not have that exactly right. The backlog is down 350,000, round numbers. So I get it. We need to make sure that the data integrity is there, but I'm not going to pull back from standing by that department and the good work that's been done. You know, we can't have back and forth between IG. IG has findings, then we've got to embrace those findings.
Well, I appreciate the chairman's leniency here. I'm not sure you're embracing those findings, especially in comparison to how you've embraced the VHA findings. It concerns me because these are veterans that are waiting for their determinations to be made. In some cases, as the IG has pointed out in GAO, it involves overpayments. Overpayments that are due to the American taxpayer. They're due back to the VA to help fund other things. And it just strikes me, and I realize this was a VHA hearing, it strikes me that you could have testimony like we had on Monday night and yet turn around and put out a press release still stating the same numbers the next day when every one of the investigators found that those numbers couldn't be trusted. So I'll work with you. It's an area of great concern. It's as big, if not bigger, problem than the VHA because the budget is the biggest budget at the VA. I thank the chair.
Senator Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, the VA has